Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning from a very sunny Leeds city centre, and
can't you see it?
or hear it. Thrilled to be joined to have Ben back on the podcast. Hi,
Hello.
Ben.
Hi, mate.
It's been a damn hot minute.
It has been a minute. How are things? Looks the same.
Yeah, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there is a lot we could fix, but generally we're getting them out. They look nice enough. Haven't had any complaints.
Makes a change.
It does, yeah.
I feel like I want to say disjointed.
Yeah.
Not quite at ease. It's like
Well, we just want to make you feel as comfortable as possible. So anything you need, you let us know. You got your water there next to the sea monkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As two things that should always be together.
Yeah.
I feel
You'll
like,
notice they're all dead.
Do you know we're men?
We are indeed.
So we don't understand like mat leave.
Maternity leave.
Maternity leave. I guess we've got paternity leave, but what's that, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
You
Like
depend on it. Some good employers will give up to 6 weeks. Apple did that.
Did they?
Or if you're the guy and you want to have full paternity, you can have that.
Oh, I didn't. See, this is how little I know.
Yeah.
But this is what it must be like when you come back from like mat leave. And you're like, I don't. What's like?
They've changed the bloody systems.
They've changed the systems. What's my login? What's my password? That's what it feels like. Well, I tell you what, it is beautiful.
What is?
The weather.
Oh, yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
I'm being here.
Went to the gym today,
Went to-
walked there just in my t-shirt, that is.
I had the aircon on in my car.
Yeah.
Makes a change.
My aircon don't work yet.
Just the windows open.
They do, yeah. You wind them down.
Wind.
It's a classic.
We've not discussed your
We've
car.
not. We discussed it all. The car specifically, I'm saving for
Yeah.
an episode because there's so many funny things to talk
Yeah.
about. But there is a lot to discuss on that. What's going on with you? Been a long time.
Do you know it has been a long time? Yeah. So
We've seen each other. We've remained
Yeah,
social. We went out at the weekend.
yeah, I enjoyed.
Big night that, wasn't it?
Do
I
you
was
know,
hungover till like 8 p.m.
that was a naughty evening.
And it's Rachel's birthday this next weekend, so we got to go out again.
Oh well, here's my dilemma. So we know this. I don't know if anyone else knows, but I'm, as of 2025, newly single,
Yeah.
thriving, loving it. Laptop likes it.
Laptop really liked it. There.
Just long
Lock up your daughters. Hey.
Yeah. If the
entire country. Lock 'em
just
up.
everyone. No. So started 2025 with a bang, and split.
Oh, congratulations! So you've already found a
So good.
rebound.
Yeah. So I got all that business sorted, but we had a house together, so I've been dealing with that. That's finally resolved-ish now, and I'm just left. I'm left in the precarious position of you know when you buy something and think, oh yeah, I'm gonna have 2 income streams to sustain this thing, and then suddenly you're in the position where you dump one income stream,
Yeah.
and you're just left with the sole income stream. So I'm just trying to diversify that income
Have
stream.
you tried betting?
Match betting.
It.
Apparently, it's too big to fail.
I made a lot of money match
Did you?
betting. Yeah, lost it all as well.
Brilliant.
But I made it all.
All's fair in love and war, man.
The closest I can relate to that is not so much personal earnings, but when in the lockdown we were doing all the live streams on the TPD TV channel, and we were just making loads of money. Like there's don't want to beat around the bush.
Yeah.
People were fantastic in supporting us. We didn't really even need or go out looking for any support. We didn't, but donations were just flying in, and we were making like significant amount of money for us for a small channel.
Yeah.
And then we just the world opened back up. And we stopped live streaming, and it was like, and then obviously things sorted themselves out because we became a bigger channel. But for the size we were back then, like the 20,000 subs or whatever, and the amount of money that was coming in, it was ridiculous. And then having to adjust back to, because all that stuff was just going back in.
Yeah.
So we used that to buy this podcast stuff even back then. So yeah, that's the closest I could relate. Or maybe when I moved into full-time YouTube and I was on up until quite recently, like the minimum salary possible. And I was just like, it'll be fine because I'm on expenses all the time, you know. But then, then I'm not on expenses all the time, and it literally just. So yeah, I mean, a change to the financial situation is never good, but unless it's more money.
Yeah,
that's the good change.
Well, there's hopefully some stuff's going to change, but I think just for the foreseeable, it's going to be a tightening of the purse strings.
Yes,
doing the Elon Musk Doge.
Yeah,
we're going to cut some departments. We're going to have to let you go. It's not going to. But I tell you what, genuinely, best split ever. Really happy.
Good. I'm glad.
Really happy.
That's all. All I care about, mate. So you're happy.
Yeah. So that's where I've been, and will continue to be.
Well, you're always, you know.
This is free.
This is your second home, the podcast. So feel free to flex in and out as you wish, and I'll keep her warmed up and running in your absence.
Sounds awful. Warmed up and running.
Well,
but yeah, so that's my update.
Cool.
And I've enjoyed. I've dipped into a couple of eps. I had a skim, just seeing how things are going.
Oh, the podcast episode.
The podcast, yeah. Very good.
We told you shouldn't be doing that while you're off. It's taken care of, mate. It's taken care of.
Take your time off.
Oh, yeah, you bloody work yourself to death if you could.
I'm going to have to. Hey, am I tempted to get a lodger? I think I might do it, because I've got a spare bedroom now. Well, I've always had it.
I need a walk-in wardrobe.
See, I don't.
But I could use your spare room
like an off
as a walk-in wardrobe.
I tell you, there's a big walk in it to get to. Yeah, maybe 500 a month.
I think decent. Yeah, not bad. Terrible for a wardrobe. Decent for rent.
For rent, yeah. Nice house.
I'm not sure where I would stand with a lodger in my house.
Tell you
needs must, obviously, but
needs must, and also
in an ideal situation, I think it would, like, if it was me, it would be someone who I already knew.
Yeah,
put something out on my socials.
Should we do it as a prize for a fan? You have to pay. If you're on the Patreon.
Did you see? Do you know who Gene Simmons is?
Yeah.
So he just announced a tour which has since been cancelled, but one of the tour tickets there was only one available. It was like 13 grand, and it was like, you can be my roadie for the day. And you get like a signed guitar and stuff, but it's like that's the same thing. It's like you can win the opportunity to live in the spare room.
Yeah, and pay for it.
En suite.
On suite.
It's got to be really.
You'd get the master bedroom. So knowing that I've slept in it, probably adds value. Maybe
to the right buyer.
To the right buyer. Get an en suite. Good location. Good links. Great front garden.
Yeah,
love that front garden. Renovated it, and you get to live with me.
Perfect. Well,
what more do you want?
Get it on Craigslist.
Yeah,
it's a nice jumper you're wearing there. I don't think I've seen that before.
You haven't known new jumper.
Yeah. I mean, no wonder you not get any money. You're buying all the fancy.
Well, I was going to say this all stops now.
Well, you've got it now.
I've got it now.
Just re-dye it every other year. Every other 6 month period.
Every other 6 months.
That's why you bought the light colour. So you can subsequently dye it into like darker and darker until you end up with a black one.
Can't even afford to dye me. I've got to just put like a red sock in with it.
Yeah,
to do it. It's really. I've got my spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Well, my outgoings. Just outgoings.
God, I've got so many spreadsheets. It's ridiculous.
It's I've really hit my stride in my 30s of just shit going wrong. But I've got the house and a car.
Yeah, I mean, like, what
more do you want?
You only focus on the stuff going wrong. I remember when me and you dropped out of uni. We dropped out of uni in unison, if I remember correctly.
I think so, yeah.
Very similar times.
Yeah.
We went to different unis in totally different cities, but we're obviously in communication all throughout.
Are you going to drop out now?
Friends
yeah.
For a long time.
Sick, me too.
Yeah, press the button now.
Yeah, do it now. Come
on. And I remember, we both kind of felt pretty lost in 2012 to the point where, like, we were looking at going back into education.
Yeah.
We both went for an interview. I mean, this is really digging into the past, but we both went for an interview at Leeds City College to do a foundation degree in some kind of computing thing. And like we felt like everything was going wrong then.
Yeah.
And it felt like everything was going wrong at probably a load of different times. But
it certainly
it's all about just where you're focusing, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And knowing I can see the end.
And if you'd have, if you'd have looked at yourself back then, if you back then could look forward and see like, oh, I'm gonna have these cool experiences, and I'm gonna have this car and this house and stuff, you'd be like, I'll cash out with that. Yeah, you'd be really happy. So it really is relative.
I must admit, it is a weird feeling being so up in the air at like, oh shit, I'm like 33 now. Like I thought I'd be sorted. I thought I wouldn't be thinking about this stuff. But
I mean, I still look at like a 35-year-old and think that's a grown up. You know, subconsciously. If I see someone, I'm like, I'm not thinking you're a grown up, but like just subconsciously, I'm like, that person is a fully grown man. And I don't see myself as like their equal until like an age comes up. Like I was watching a YouTuber called Stuff Made Here. Yeah. Big channel. Probably the smartest guy I've ever seen in my life.
Smartest.
Oh, he makes stuff.
Here.
Right. A lot of you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, go check it out. But I found out he's same age as us. And I was like, I was like, fucking hell, I've been looking up to this guy as if he was literally like, no, I don't want to say a father figure, but, someone in that age bracket.
Yeah.
And it's like, we've caught them up now.
I think there's people at my work that are younger than me and that are like fully grey.
It's mad, isn't it? It is mad.
I know I've got no, you won't be able to tell, a slight recede.
Yeah.
Ever so slight, just a hair's whisper of a recede. But thankfully, no. I've seen like one grey, but it's just mental when I see other people and they're like married, kids. I mean, we know people that have kids and are married.
I've got friends who are divorced.
Yeah, they've gone through the whole,
it's mental.
The whole life cycle. And
I'm only just getting into like dipping my toes in the basic stuff. I only just learned to drive.
What
I wanted to do is I wanted to use all those formative years to like build the channel
and then
set up the business,
build the foundation. What does Keir stand for? He's like fixing the foundation.
I don't fucking know, mate. I've got all that stuff muted on Twitter and I don't watch the news. I do watch tech news from Linus Tech Tips. That's the news. I'm sick of hearing about graphics cards.
Oh, they're all going on at 5080.
Yeah, it's all over my head.
Get a room, guys. Get an LTT Labs. Am I right?
So we quickly nosedive back into nonsense.
I was gonna shit. What was I gonna say? I'm reliving. Well, I don't know if that's a good thing to say. I'm definitely like re-entering like so we went out recently.
Yeah.
And I'm like single. I'm like I've not done it. I'm not saying I'm like out like hunting for women or anything like that. But just the vibe of like I can just do what I want now. There's no like I'm not saying like being like I've had good relationships and this at one point was a good relationship, but now just being like I can just do what I want. I could just like not go home. Feel like a kid again.
Yeah, it's mental. And the right person to find is someone who will make you feel like that. Even when you are together.
I'm definitely having like a good period where I'm just like,
Well, good. I'll hold you to it, Ben.
You hold me to it.
Because it is a good time in your life.
Yeah. And the graphics cards we were saying.
No, we weren't. We're going to move on from that. We wanted to talk today a little bit about, we talked about changes in life.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be good. Something I've wanted to talk about for a long time, and it could only really be with you, Ben.
Yeah.
We shared a job together at one point. We're the only members of the crew.
Shockingly, we did.
That had a job together at the same time in the same place. And we both lost that job. One of us ended a bit more in smoke and flames than the other.
Yeah, I gracefully parachuted out.
Yeah.
Well, I was pushed, but...
And I thought it would be nice to talk a little bit about that and about some of the anecdotes that maybe we both have. I've got a little list. I've got so many things that I wanted to talk about with
next to the Red Dead subreddit.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the. God, I mean, I'm going for the 100%.
Mental.
It's insane, and thankfully, I don't have a lot of work to do at the minute. So I can just sink hours. 92 hours in on Red Dead, which
Jesus
is probably the longest I've played a game that's not but it's probably my longest single player game ever.
Yeah.
I've played GTA Online for like 30 days of total play time, but that doesn't really count because you're hanging out with your mates.
I wonder what, ignoring procedural games, I wonder if that is a game with the most content ever. Like what? I can't think of a bigger game.
The thing is, I'm not
GTA 5, but it won't be bigger.
It's not. There's nowhere near as much stuff. Like even just all the animals in Red Dead, it's ridiculous. It's mad, and you need to find all these certain animals, shoot them with the right gun.
Imagine developing that.
I know, mate. It's a masterclass, and I'm embarrassed that I'm so late to realising this. So we worked at a place called Game, didn't we, Ben? We started in maybe 2012, maybe Christmas 2012. Maybe 2013. I was
literally looking at my CV yesterday.
Is that on your CV?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Well, yeah.
But it was, so for anyone who doesn't know, because it's kind of a thing of the past now, sadly, very, very sad. Game was a high street and is still in some locations a high street video game retailer.
Powerhouse. Yeah,
it was the one. It was the place to get video games, and I feel like we worked there at a great time for the business.
It was still popping off.
I was there for the PS4 and Xbox One launch.
Yeah,
which was a real big launch and GTA and stuff. So it was booming when we were there. Now it's descended into just a Mike Ashley owned.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so Mike Ashley, who owns Sports Direct, now called Fraser's Group, he's bought Game, and he's a genius businessman, to be honest. As much as I dislike what he's done with Game because it has a place in my heart, it's smart business. No one's buying physical games.
No.
So it's just like, it's basically becoming like an HMV where it just sells tap.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. But when we worked there, it was full of games and we sold them.
Yeah, it was it's interesting, right? Because I won't skip ahead too much, but I look back on it with such I just couldn't find my I just didn't have the skills, man. I couldn't find it, and it's amazing how I then went on to hospitality, restaurants and stuff. Absolutely loved it.
Strange, isn't it? Because there's a lot of transferable skill there.
Absolutely, there is. Customer, like confidence and customer service and all this stuff.
And you could argue that you're kind of more into the products that sell at a game.
Yeah, than your dinner.
But it just didn't click.
It didn't click.
And then
for
you did well in hospitality, did you?
Did really well in hospitality.
Three different places.
Yeah, Yo Sushi, Las Iguanas, and obviously started off in that hotel. But anyway, yeah, so it was interesting because it was a small game, wasn't it? It was in a shopping centre.
It was in the White Rose Centre in Leeds.
And I don't know, it was such I don't know how much I want to say, but I already you
don't have to worry about.
Oh.
Yeah.
As someone who's probably more confident and maybe although not as much as that time, but if someone's trying to show off, or if someone's trying to be bigger, if I've determined your sort of power level and you're trying to big it up to me or shout out something, I've just got no time for you.
What, someone else who worked
who worked there. So there were a couple of characters in which I'm sure you'll know in our store who they were just you could imagine them on these workplace comedies where you can just imagine the characters not really the Dwight from The Office, but they were chill, but they're just, I don't know, it was just weird flexing. And it's and not only weird flexing, but who you flexing to. So a new employee, temporary staff.
Yeah, so me and Ben, we got taken on as Christmas temps.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just, even at that early formative time of my life, quickly sussed out these people.
There was some people in there particularly difficult to get along with, for sure.
Just bizarre behaviour.
Yeah. Real, I'm the third biggest fish in this really small pond, and you're the new fish.
The pond's so small that I can't have all my fins in the pond at the same time.
And there's only 2 fish bigger than me.
There's only 2 fish bigger than me, and Charlie and the unicorn. No, Charlie the unicorn, or whatever it was. Do you remember?
Right.
Was it Charlie?
Charlie the unicorn.
Charlie the unicorn is like peak humour and quoting it. Peak humour, but like years after.
Charlie.
Years after it come out.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, oh my God.
It was. I've got some friends for life from them, and there's some people I just never want to see again. And those people will, of course, remain nameless, but fuck them.
I'm going to name them all now.
So I remember, so we started, and there was maybe 7 or maybe 5 or 6 Christmas temps. We were 2 of those. And
God, was that many?
It was always a battle for hours.
Yeah, it was.
Because back then, and this might be, I mean, living in stable employment now for a significant amount of time. I don't know if this still goes on, but like scrapping for hours, like not physically scrapping, but like
just wanting
checking a piece of paper on the wall and being like, oh shit, I've only got 12 hours this week.
Yeah.
And they might be like 3-4 hour shifts from 4 till 8 p.m.
Yeah.
I remember like if I was working 4 till 8, like what the fuck am I going to do with my entire day?
Such an awkward time, innit?
And another thing that I remember was getting really, really frustrated. And I thought I had a real airtight, watertight case here. I used to get really pissed off at the management at the time because they didn't know anywhere near as much about games as like me or you or say Jess, who worked with us, who was my girlfriend at the time. Right. Now, obviously, I realised it's much more important to know how to manage and run a retail store, which they didn't do a super good job with after, as we'll come to later. Yeah. But I really was like, I can't believe these managers don't know about games. It's like, well, it doesn't matter. They know how to.
Do you mean you don't know about the Chili and Mystery?
They know how to. This was before Chili had Mystery, mate.
Yeah, it was fair. Yeah.
And I used to get so frustrated about that, but eventually the hours went up, and you know we kind of cracked on.
I really just do not remember. Like I've got a couple of like I remember. God, what do I remember? Not much. I can roughly piece together like the back bit, like the upstairs bit, and obviously the shop floor. And I can remember a couple of faces, and just hating it really.
Really,
like not hating it, but like just not when I compare it to like other jobs and how they clicked. And like now, obviously I'm in a job, and it's like to be at the level where you just walk into this place and you just know stuff. I don't know. I know that's what a job is, but it's like someone comes to you, asks you a question. Yeah, I know that, but then I could never just find my feet in it. I'm like using the till and stuff.
I mean, those tills were archaic.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
And it was like learning an instrument, learning how to use those tills.
Making that music, wouldn't you?
And you know, there was like different types of user. There was people who just knew how to use it, but I ended up becoming, after like a year there, I was like a savant on it. I was like is that the right word? I was like a virtuoso on that till, knowing exactly when one menu is going to hang, knowing that it buffers inputs so that you can like press all these buttons while it's loading, and knowing it's going to execute that upon. Or I loved.
Yeah.
There was it was a difficult to. Kind of easy to pick up a basic level, but really hard to master. Yeah. And I had it mastered, and that was part of my problem. Do you have any like anecdotes that you remember from working at games? So just so we know, like our job was sales assistant, right? Which is like the lowest of the pecking order. And that entails like working the tills, and you'd get big, long ass queues. Sometimes hours and hours non-stop serving customers. It could entail... so when a customer brings a game up to the till, that game is empty. That's just a dummy box, and that goes on the side of the till. And then when that had piled up, it might be your job to go and put all those back out on the shop floor. Yeah. And then by the time you've put them out, it's piled back up again to a fully stocked pile of empties. So you might be on that. Some people were just based on the shop floor just to answer questions and talk to people, I suppose.
It's weird that I can't my memory is so bad. It's weird. I literally cannot remember being behind the till. I know I will have been, but I just can't remember doing it. But there's one thing I do remember, which is it was just so awkward. But being with one of the, I don't know if it was a supervisor. I don't know what it was. I'm guessing it was like a supervisor or something. And being with him and him like this couple came in and they were after a PlayStation or a console or something for the kid, and like having to talk to them about it, and like, but instead of just like, because I knew the console, I could talk about the console, but having to hit these markers of like this is the bundle we do, this is the game or whatever, but having this manager person over my shoulder,
or like shadowing
me, and then just saying, "Oh, can we just have a?"
It's awful, isn't it?
And it's like, as a customer, how weird is that?
It is
like
terrible.
You're speaking to this person, but then this.
And I know in a place like Game, it wouldn't have been like. So they do that at Apple. They'll do that at Apple, and it's fucking awful. Don't get me wrong. But it's explained in a good way, because if I'm the person, if I'm working on the shop floor or on the tech support area, the Genius Bar, and a manager's been allocated to shadow me for my next 3 interactions, the way you introduce it is, I would say, because you don't look like a manager, right? You just look the same. You just say, "Do you mind if Ben hangs with us on this interaction, because he's new and I'm just trying to." He's just going through his training, it shifts the. At least that's how I had it when I was kind of doing it. But it's also not a good managerial way of like tracking how good your employee is, because if you're being shadowed, number one, you might be a bit more nervous. But number two, if I was being shadowed, I'd make sure to hit every. You know, if you're in a sales environment, sometimes you're not going to ask about the fucking insurance to the customer, because like, whatever, I can't be arsed dealing with it. But you're going to ask all those points like when you're being shadowed by a member of management. So it's not, they're not getting a real reflection of like what you're actually doing.
But I think that was all like, this won't be the term, but it's just what comes to mind, like performative management. I feel like that retail environment was a lot of, like, I remember when they eventually did let me go because they didn't renew the temp thing, and I was just like, they were like explaining it, however, I was like, I just don't care, just get me out. I mean I did care, but
there is no. I think in that environment there was good people in there, but I think it will have all been performative. I don't think there was any like focus on development in that business at all. It was and not really. I mean, I remember the way to get a promotion was to just deliver like good numbers. And we'll talk about like what
you try to do, isn't it?
What the targets are. Yeah, we'll come on to that now. But there was never a conversation of like, here's how you could get better at delivering like on this target. So like I don't want to just harp on about like Apple, but that's my most recent retail experience. And like, if you're struggling with like selling, and there's not really any hard targets at Apple, but if you're struggling on, let's say, attaching a case to a hardware sale. So you're selling a phone and you've personally identified, none of my customers are buying cases. You could take that to a member of the leadership and they would help you. You're never going to be told off for not selling cases. But like, there's people there that can help you and guide you,
like
and
build a workflow.
Absolutely.
To
well, why do you think you're not selling it? How are you asking them? Let's try it now.
The phone goes in the case.
What case do you have? Like, have you tried? Let them put their phone in. This is all just off the top of my head. I was great at selling cases. It wasn't even a target, but you know, there is that level of skill and the people skills and the humanity. But at Game, it just wasn't really.
I think so. You know, I had this. I remember I had an excellent example of this. So when I left Game, I was off for a bit, and then eventually I joined Yo Sushi. I opened the Yo Sushi Trinity store, which fucking favorite job I've ever had. Loved it there. But when I first started, we did like a press thingy, my bobber, and it was my first ever. So obviously, you know, I did my Alton Hall waiting stuff. And then there was loads of time. Then I did Game. then a bit of time. Then I did Yo Sushi. That first shift, so I'd done my training, really excited, blah, blah, blah. First shift, Leeds Trinity Yo Sushi. I never forget, I was stood in my little, because we had sections, stood in my section, just frozen. It's like, shit, what do I do? Like, just literally panicking. It just so happens that my mum's best mate was, at the time, she's retired now, but she was working in a Marriott hotel. Marriott? One of the hotels in Leeds. Yeah. She was invited to this thing. She spotted me, gave me a little pep talk. She gave me a little boost, but I was still a bit like papping it. And then there was the trainer guy. Yo Sushi had like a trainer guy who did them all, based at head office, and he would go around and do all the openings. Took it to one side. I can't remember verbatim what he told me, but it was just proper like coachy, proper like, just don't forget, this is, they're in your stomping ground, Ben. Yeah, they're in your like environment.
Good management is excellent.
Yeah, and it just and you know what? I flew to be. I mean, I got
lifts everyone up.
Yeah, lifted me up. I remembered what they taught me, gave me the boost I needed to just remember like, this is, I know this. They don't know it. I know this. In the end, I worked there for I think a couple of years, got promoted to a supervisor, and I smashed it. And now I'm at a point where I could walk up to a table, just chat shit, essentially just be myself and deliver a service. It's brilliant. But a game, none of that.
No, you wouldn't.
You're almost like an inconvenience if you didn't pick it up.
Well, your reward for picking it up was more hours.
Yeah.
And if you didn't do well, you'd get less hours.
Yeah, and that'd be it. There'd be no like, they're not bothered in. I guess because they just,
because there's probably 100 other like
that's it, innit?
Teenagers ready to or early 20s ready to.
Yeah, you either get it or you don't, and if you don't, we'll get somewhere else.
Absolutely,
and especially in that tiny store where there isn't much upward movement. As well.
So there was two.
There was big boss, wasn't there?
There's the store manager.
Yeah,
and then two deputy managers.
That man,
and then two. Like slightly senior sales.
Was the deputies were that the young man and the old man?
Yeah. I got some anecdotes because I think
you'll have loads.
Some of these times are really funny and stupid. Ultimately, I got sacked from this job. I was kept on, and I worked there for about a year and a half, and I loved it, Ben. I loved it. It was, and I still look back on it now as, relative to where my head was at the time, maybe one of the best times in my life.
Yeah.
Which is mental when, you think about everything that we've done. But relative to where I was, and I lived at my mum's, and I didn't have any responsibilities. I was happy in my relationship.
Yeah.
Me and the girl I was going out with worked together in this store. We loved gaming. All I wanted to do was collect games and go out and get pissed in Leeds.
Imagine if
I could
stuck with that.
Well, do you know what's? I really don't want to come across in the wrong way here. And I'm a firm believer of like, be comfortable being comfortable. I've said that before, and you don't always need to be looking for the next challenge. Like if you're happy, you're happy. Mm-hmm. But I recently went into a game store this year, 2025.
Which one?
It'll remain nameless for the sake of this next bit that I'm saying. And there was someone in there that worked there when I worked for the company.
Wow.
So that's a long time.
That's a very long time.
And to work for a company that's only tumbling towards sacking every member of staff.
And there's been so many signposts.
Yeah,
to that
there
end.
Is, and I felt kind of upset about it on this person's behalf. And I'm not trying to diss them. Like, if they're happy, they're happy, absolutely.
Yeah.
But like, this is a company that, if they could replace you with an AI chatbot, they'd have done it yesterday.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they're only edging further and further by putting these game stores as a concessions booth inside an already operating retail overhead, like it's in Sports Direct now in Leeds, which means it doesn't need its own, I mean, I don't know specifically, but it probably doesn't need its own like senior management. It just needs to be managed by whoever's running the concessions within.
Yeah. That's really, because I'm, it's interesting that, because I think through procrastination and probably laziness, I have been comfortable being comfortable. But
that's
a while.
That's fine. Like, I want to make it clear. Like, please do.
Like, of course. But it's interesting because I have that. So I've been at my current place for 8 years, love it, really happy. But even I've sort of past couple of years been like, oh, just not reevaluating. Like I'm not going to make any drastic decisions because I really love my job. But just thinking, right, am I doing the most I can here? And it's interesting. I wonder if they've also had that.
Well, I think that is the difference in it. That's the difference. When I worked at Apple, I was in the same job for 3 years. At my last 3 years there, the same role. And every now and again, I would ask myself, like, what's my next challenge? Do I even want a next challenge? Have I got enough money? Have I got enough responsibility? Do I want more of either of those things? Not really.
Yeah.
And I'd check in with myself.
Yeah.
And management would check in with me, and I'm sure that probably happens with you. And I wonder if, hopefully that's happening with this person that still worked in game, and hopefully they're happy with it and not just feeling a bit trapped. But I'm probably overanalyzing.
Interesting though, because you'd at least jump to another retail place.
I mean, it's so easy to do, innit?
Yeah.
So not easy to say.
John Lewis.
Yeah, John Lewis, apparently decent place. So I've got a couple of little anecdotes here. Some are funny. We'll start off with a funny one. So we used to piss about, right, in game. We really did. And your stock in game is maybe 10% brand new product, 90% pre-owned product. So a lot of your products are already open. And there was one time where I was processing the pre-owned. So someone comes and trades in, all day you're getting stuff traded in. People on the till are, transacting those trade-ins. And then all that stock goes upstairs to be like processed, stickered up, and basically be ready to be sold to the next person. And we would piss about. And there was one time where I was processing a load of trading, which involves like scan it in, print off a barcode to say that it's pre-owned and not brand new. So that goes over the new barcode that's obviously printed on the packaging of the game. And one of it was Skyrim. And after I was like doing whatever, I'd hand it to someone else, and they would inspect the disc and check if it needed to be run through the disc resurfacing machine.
I remember it well.
So one time it was Skyrim, and this guy I was working with had just like fucked off somewhere. So I was like, I'm going to have a bit of fun. So I took the disc out of the Skyrim box and I drew on it like a dragon and wrote like Skyrim and permanent marker on the data side of the disc. Put it back in the thing. Comes back, hands it over, he opens it up. It's like, what the fuck is this? Right? So obviously he's then going to put it on the resurfacing machine. It's going to take a layer off. It's all good. Anyway, 2 weeks or something later, I'm on the till, and this kid comes up to me, maybe about 12, maybe about 11, and he goes, "Hiya, I bought this and it's not working, and someone's drawn on the back of the disc." So it's a Skyrim, and I forgot about this. So I open it up, and it's Skyrim. Oh shit! And obviously the answer is, let me just swap that for you right away.
Did you do this, mate? But you're 11 years old, did you?
But Skyrim's an age-rated product. Oh, no. So I couldn't facilitate a swap for him. So this poor kid had to...
Because of you?
I would have done that, but there was a manager next to me on the till, on their till. Like, managers would go on the till. It wasn't that... The differences in responsibility weren't that vast. So I had to say to this lad, "You're gonna have to come back with your parent." And he's got a Skyrim disc that I drew on.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Oh, that was maybe the only time I'd negatively impacted a customer knowingly.
I just think it'd be funny if you're like, "Oh, what? Sorry, man, you've damaged the disc."
Well, I did have a guy. There was this guy called Lad. We'll call him Lad. His name does start with Lad. It goes on, but I'm just going to call him Lad because that's short. And he was a serial bullshitter. And he was a employee. He was a customer, not an employee. And he bought a Sony Xperia which is like a shitty old smartphone. Out of the pre-owned cabinet that we had. We had a cabinet full of like old iPads and phones and stuff. And he bought it. and he brought it back in and it's smashed. And he goes to me, he said to me, no lie, Rob, because he was a regular of mine. I had a few regulars. It's like, I took the phone out of my pocket and I looked at it and the screen cracked. And I thought, you're obviously chatting bollocks. You think I'm fucking stupid. But I don't know if you remember, but there was a process that we had to follow with faulty hardware.
Oh, I can't remember at all.
So we had to phone up game head office.
All right.
So if a PlayStation or Xbox, when the Xbox One first came out, it used to grind the discs, make a grinding sound. And we'd be like, cool, this is not to do with me and you, customer. This is to do with game customer service. So it's a bit of a dumb way to do it, because it holds up a member of staff on the till while they're on the phone. So you would ring the member of staff, me in this case, it was like, I'm just going to ring the head office and explain that to them.
Yeah.
So I explained to them, like, hello, I've got this customer, he's got this phone, serial number, date of purchase, claims that he's taken it out of his pocket, looked at it, and it's just cracked.
Meteor hit it.
And they were like, okay, no worries, your returns authorization code is, because you type that into the till, and they greenlit his refund.
What's the point of that process?
I guess they're so used to, if I've got that far in the process, maybe they're just assuming the answer's from us. Maybe they misunderstood what I was actually saying, but this guy got his refund.
Wow.
Which is mental.
That is mental. I sat on a phone once.
What, there?
No, not there. Just in my. I remember I had I can't remember what it was. It was the one. It was a Sony, and it was like black, but it had the orange button in the middle. It was not a smartphone, like button. An old. Yeah, it was. So I don't know what that was, but that was one of my early phones. I had it in my back pocket, and I was in the park with some mates. I was like dead young, just sat on a bench. Oh shit! Oh, it was cracked.
Yeah, it does that.
So I just
you
looked
could
at
replace
it,
the fascias on those though, so that was salvageable.
Different time on it, man.
It was
different time.
I remember when it was me. There was two of us working. You have to operate the shop with a minimum of two here. So there was me and one of the.
I remember that because I think at one point I went up and I was the last one, and I got told off.
Yeah. So because there'll be no one down.
Yeah. On
the shop floor. But there was me and this manager in. The manager had worked there for years, and I have a real soft spot for him. And I remember this guy serving me back in the PS1 days. And I think about him every now and again. I hope he's doing all right out there. I hope he's still alive and kicking. But he was getting on a bit, bless him. And there was one time where it was just me and him in, and a customer had come in, like one of those late weekday shopping centre nights where there's no one really in, no customers or anything. And he goes, do you have any Xbox Ones in? So I was like, yeah, we'll probably have them. So I do a stock check for him on the till or whatever. I'm like, yeah, these are the bundles that we got available, you know, like the preset kind of, like it comes with a game already in the box. He's like, cool, can I get this one, please? And this guy, this manager who was next to me on the till was like, I'll go get that, Rob. No problem. So I was like, oh, cool. So he runs up the stairs to go and get it. And I make having the chat with the customer as you do. And we kind of just ran out of things to say. Like we spoke for a little while, and me and this customer had just ran out of things to say.
Yeah.
So I was like, won't be long, mate, blah, blah, blah. So I'm processing, like, dude, just, tidying up behind the till, just looking busy so I'm not just stood, speaking to this customer. Anyway, about 15 minutes later.
That's a long time. Those stairs out that numerous.
This guy comes back down, this manager, and comes back through the door and starts fiddling with something. And he looks up at the customer, and the customer's like, "What? And then this manager that I work with goes, "What was it you wanted again, mate?"
You jerk.
And he, bless him, he just forgot. He had just forgotten.
That's insane.
And I was stood in the middle of him, and I really wanted to defend him because he had a heart of gold.
Yeah.
And he just forgot. But this customer was furious. And he was shouting, I'm going to take my business over to Sainsbury's, because there was a Sainsbury's in the shopping centre. They've got them in Sainsbury's and it's cheaper. Blah, 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 blah.
Why didn't you go there anyway?
I know. Well, we used to get that a lot. You used to get people coming in, bringing a game till like FIFA 14, brand new, be like, it's £5 cheaper in Sainsbury's. And I'd just go there then.
Yeah, I don't.
There's a reason that you've come in here.
Yeah.
You either want your reward points or they've sold out in Sainsbury's, which is very likely.
So, it's weird. I totally get the frustration. I'll give you a quick tangent of my Yo Sushi days. I remember one time we had a guy come in who he just got a bottle of lovely little glass bottle of Coke and some salmon nigiri. Fine. Now the thing with Yo Sushi is it was overpriced back then.
Yeah.
I've not been since I lost my staff discount, so I couldn't tell you what it is.
It's very expensive.
I bet it is, yeah. And also not like there's better places now. But this guy, he got the stuff. Now let's remember at Yo Sushi, you have the menu with the prices on. You can reference, that you can look at.
Yeah.
And obviously you grab your food or whatever, or do you drink whatever. He basically called me over, pushed his little button. The man shouted, called me over, and he was complaining because his salmon nigiri was however expensive and his Coke was however expensive. And he's like, that in and of itself, fine. The price are listed, but fine. You're annoyed, whatever, fine. I can deal with that. But it's the fact that he was going on about...
What is the deal with that?
Well...
That's an incredibly embarrassing reason to complain.
I think it is, just saying something's overpriced. But basically, what he was saying was, he's just come over from Australia and he could get salmon, like sushi loads cheaper there. And I was like, well, unfortunately... these are our prices. Unfortunately, sushi's more expensive.
It's a different continent for all different economics.
A whole heap of reasons. And in the end, I think I think I struck the salmon off his bill and just charged him like £3.70 for a
so he got what he wanted.
He did get what he wanted. But it's just that whole concept of like, the price are listed, man. You can't complain about that. And I still got him on the expensive, but because it was only the little 330ml glass bottle, and it was like £3.75 or something nonsense. It was ridiculous.
Soft drinks always are. I never order a soft drink with a meal.
It's there's no in it. Like it's not worth it. I don't think.
I agree. I'd rather have a free water or a beer.
I mean, I'm trying to think what sort. God no, I can't think of a soft drink I'd have.
Never worth it.
Maybe if I'm feeling special, like a Coke with ice. Like when you're on holiday, though.
Right.
Not in like the UK.
That's special, is it?
When you're on holiday, Coke with ice. Special. But anyway. I don't know what the point of the story was. It's just people complaining.
We're just talking.
Just talking, mate. Just chatting. Just a podcast.
A few other things that I wanted to mention is, so like when you'd get, if you were on the till and a customer is trading in, you scan the product on the till, and the till tells you like, this is worth £5.
Yeah.
Give this customer £5 for this game.
I remember this.
Some stuff don't scan. So collector's editions of games don't scan as, like, because the system doesn't know what it is.
So it just scans as the base game.
So it's up to me to determine what it is. Some games are retailer exclusive specific versions, for example. Some stuff just doesn't have a barcode on, like a Wii steering wheel, you know, that little wheel that everyone put the Wiimote in, or a Guitar Hero controller, a guitar. And I used to love being on the till when someone would bring like a bunch of landfill shit up to my till to trade in, because scanning all the games, no problem, the till tells me, but then it's up to me. And I remember this woman brought in a load of Xbox 360 stuff, and she brought in a PS1,
nice,
a GameCube in its original box, a Sega Game Gear in like a big case with loads of games, loads of accessories, a Sega Master System. We're talking like...
Shouldn't be taking that to game.
Well, the thing is, this was 2013 maybe.
Yeah.
And the retro gaming boom hadn't happened.
No.
And this stuff she knew she'd apply, like, she's thinking, right, here's my copy of FIFA 10. This is 3 years old and it's worth 20 pence. All this stuff is 10 plus years old.
Yep.
So there's nothing I can trade that in for. So I'm like, we can't take it. It's too old. So she's just like, can you just put it in the bin? Which is exactly what I was hoping she would say. I'm like, no problem. And at game, it was like a first come, first serve. Like, if you want something, put a sticker with your name on it. And basically, I got to keep all this stuff. I've still got it.
Yeah.
And it was the same with Guitar Hero controllers. They'd really reached their peak in popularity and then crashed out, and no one wanted all these plastic instruments cluttering up their house, and games certainly didn't want them because they're taking up space in the storeroom, and the buyer's market didn't exist at the time. So any time there would be a guitar controller,
I'll have that.
But not only like I'll have it, but no one else wanted it either. Like, no other member of staff, no customer, no one wanted it. It was just like, Rob will have this, even when I'm not in. So there was just stuff getting put aside for me. And I remember covering my mum's, I kept them in my mum's wardrobe, and I laid them all out, and they took up the entirety of my mum's bedroom floor, all these guitars. And now they're worth like at least 50 quid each.
Really? Wow.
And I've got at least 20 of them.
Yeah.
And some are worth like 70, 80 quid.
Damn. Wow.
It's mad, but we just worked there at the right time. Yeah, it was great. The collector's edition stuff, I used to collect games. I still do, really. And, you know, if someone brings in like they used to call it Call of Duty Hardened Edition, which was like the collector's version of a Call of Duty. It'd come with like the game, a digital code. Then one year it came with like a remote control car. One year it came with like a drone. One year it came with like
military drone.
You know, just like, and it'd come in like a collector's box. There was a Fallout one. There was like, all big games did a collector's. They still do. And they would just trade in as the game.
There's a real, like, if you don't know, not so much on the staff side, but as a customer, if you don't know the value of something, or this is like your kids moved out of your house,
they don't want Call of Duty anymore. Oh, I've actually got £100 version of Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So the till goes, that's Call of Duty, here's £2 credit, and then I can then buy it from game at the price they sell a pre-owned copy of that Call of Duty for, so say £5. So everyone wins except the customer. We'll talk a little bit about why I got sacked.
Yeah, because I didn't get sacked. My contract just wasn't renewed. So quite an elegant way to leave the business.
It's what they say when like they don't want you.
Yeah.
You don't really want to be there.
It's not you. It's you.
Yeah.
But so I was long gone, and I've only heard the rumors, the whispers, So yeah. I'll let you go ahead, mate.
So our game store was put into like red alert, full investigation. I came in to work one day and I was told, you need to go upstairs, Rob. I went upstairs. There was 2 people I'd never recognised from another store. And they were like, you're being immediately suspended. Await further contact. And then, and don't speak to anyone from your work. So I walked home. I had no idea what to think. I was terrified.
Not allowed.
And I remember there's a guy called Ryan that worked at game, and he's one of the best people I've ever known, and I love him to bits. And he lives on the Isle of Wight now, so I don't really get to see him. But when we went to the Isle of Wight festival, we did manage to link up. And it was absolutely my highlight of that weekend. And that was a great weekend. And Ryan was one of the like senior sales, like junior managers. And he was always just brilliant to be around. And when I'd got suspended, he obviously knew that it was coming as of that day when he'd got into work. Yeah. And I remember he just kind of, as I was leaving, he just kind of like put his hand on like my shoulder. just because it was like I wasn't allowed to even speak to anyone, but it meant so much to me that he was just
that acknowledgement.
Yeah. And shout out Ryan if you are listening. Love you very
Ryan,
much.
you.
I'm surrounded by Ryans.
In every
there is. I got a Ryan in every port.
Yeah.
So anyway, got suspended, as did my missus at the time, and basically, I've always said that I was only doing what I was encouraged to do, and that is true. Though looking back now, I definitely see why what I was doing was wrong.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, what I was doing, and several of them, in fact, the entirety of the sales team, at the very least, maybe most of them, maybe not all of them, but was manipulating the figures. So at game, there was a certain number of targets that you had to hit. You had to get pre-orders for games. You had to sell warranties on hardware. And you had to sell something called disc care.
Disc care, I remember it well.
Which was insurance for your disc.
Nonsense.
It was £1.
Yeah.
And that's on any disc. If it's a 2-disc game, it's still just £1.
Bargain.
And what it means is if your disc gets fucked, we'll swap your disc for you. And there was even times where like senior company management had told, like if you're doing a midnight launch, tell all your customers in the queue before your store opens, we're going to add this care onto every single transaction. If you don't want it, let us know at the till, which is insanely illegal when you're talking about an insurance product.
Absolutely. Wow.
And then you're relying on them to remember that all the way for another hour and a half in the queue until they get to your till. But anyway, so this care, warranties, which was called game care, and pre-orders. So there's a little well-known code that you could use on the till called a when bought with code.
Yeah.
Now, this is not unique to game. And what it means is this code is a separate product that the till sees, and it discounts certain items. So let's say you're buying Grand Theft Auto 5. It's just come out. Yeah. That's £45. Maybe there's a promotion on where if you buy Grand Theft Auto while buying a console, you get Grand Theft Auto for £20 off. But the till isn't smart enough to recognise Grand Theft Auto and a console on one transaction.
Yep. You
know, like your meal deal at Tesco, it does it all down for you, doesn't it? Well, you use the club card, but you know, it works out the discounts. These tills weren't smart enough to do that. So you'd use something called the when bought with code 2269900. And what that would do was it would scan something on that transaction and apply its when bought with price. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do they answer me?
Comment if that makes sense. So what you could do is, and I want to make it explicitly clear that I didn't just invent this. It was taught to me.
8 years off my date of birth, that. 22699.
Is it?
91.
Wow. That is wild. Anyway, so let's say a customer's coming up to your till and they want to buy Grand Theft Auto 5 and it's £45 and you know you can discount £20 off that using this code.
Yep.
So by getting to know that customer a bit, you can ask them, is there anything coming out soon that you might want to pre-order? And if they say FIFA 14, you can be like, right, it's £5 to pre-order FIFA 14. You put a £5 deposit down, your stock is ring-fenced when it comes into the store when the game launches, and you get your £5 off. So I could say, well, I've got great news for you. Your GTA 5 today is only going to cost you
I think I've spotted the problem
half price plus a £5, because I'm also going to give you a pre-order for that FIFA 14 that you're on about. When you come in when FIFA 14 comes out, we'll have one reserved for you, and you'll get a £5 off it as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully that makes sense to everyone. Then let's say someone, same scenario, right? But the months have moved on.
Yeah.
We'll keep the games the same, but let's say someone's buying GTA 5. You know you can knock half price off. This person's really, really excited for GTA, for FIFA 14.
Yeah.
Can't wait for FIFA 14. You're definitely going to buy FIFA 14 from this shop when it comes out, aren't you, mate? Yeah, of course I am. Well, great news. Transact it with GTA at half price.
Yeah.
Make up the difference in individual £5 FIFA 14 deposits, pre-orders, if that makes sense.
So what you're saying there, so he's going to buy multiple copies?
Well, so he's going to leave with Grand Theft Auto 5 for what he expected to pay and 22 quid's worth of voucher for a guaranteed copy of FIFA 14. If that makes sense.
That doesn't make sense, because how?
So by layering on multiple individual pre-orders.
But
so a pre-order's a £5
to the customer? Because if I can just pay a £5, where does my 22? Or do they not know?
You don't even know
It's
as
happening.
the customer.
Is it not on the receipt?
Yeah. You're gonna look at your receipt? Probably not.
No, probably not. Wow. I see.
So you don't even know that you've actually just bought GTA at half price and 20 quid's worth of pre-orders.
And then they get the pre-order price off.
And then they'll have 20 quid off when they come in. But that 20 quid is made up of 4 pre-orders.
Yeah, okay, I see.
So you can start to see where the issue comes in here if you didn't already. Another example would be, let's say there was a when bought with on a DS, Nintendo DS. Let's say it's 30 quid off. If you buy your DS while you're also buying a Wii U, mental. I made that up as an example here. If you're bringing a DS 200 quid to the till, I can type in the when bought with code to knock 30 quid off it.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
Would you like a free 2-year accidental damage warranty on your DS, Mr. Customer?
Yeah.
Now, I know that costs 30 quid, but my code has knocked 30 quid off of your hardware. So you're paying the same, you're walking away, you're feeling like you've got a bonus.
Yeah.
Which is illegal because you're mis-selling an insurance product.
Oh, this is so interesting, actually.
Now, disc care was a quid. Let's say you've had a day where you've not done any disc cares. Oh, Jess has got 3 more fucking disc cares than me. And Lado over to the left has got 4 more pre-orders. I remember
they used to tally it up.
Yeah, there was a chart in the back.
Yeah.
Next guy I see in the queue with GTA at 45 quid. Yeah. I'm knocking it down to half price and putting 12 disc cares on his receipt.
For a quid, and I just put.
And that was basically it. Like discount the product they're buying and make up the difference in something that benefits your numbers.
God, it's amazing because on the outside looking in, notes really changing.
Absolutely.
But well, if I was a smart customer, I'd notice. I'd just not pre-order, and I've just got my discount on the first example. I was thinking that'd be sick, but obviously internally, the till records, you audit them, and they're fucked.
That's where now.
That's amazing.
All of this stuff was learned behavior.
Yeah.
And I remember distinctly going into a performance review. You'd have like a 3-month performance review, and I remember the exact phrase from a member of management who knew I was doing this, who said to me,
"Fraud.
Don't stop doing what you're doing." That was the exact phrase.
I'm not surprised.
So I thought, it's all good.
No one in that store, it's not in anyone in that store's interest, and it includes store manager, to tell you not to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes them look great.
Yep.
Obviously, benefits you.
And you were looking, when you'd look in the back of the back of house area, where there was like a tally with everyone's names and their pre-orders and stuff. And it didn't take a genius to find out, okay, this person's got 3 this week. This person's got 4 this week. Rob has 78 Grand Theft Auto pre-orders. Jess has 77, not quite as many as me, I would imagine. And and there was other people with astronomical numbers and other people with low. It was very obvious what was going on, but it was like turn a blind eye.
See no evil.
The thing that I had not thought about in all of this is the back end.
Yeah.
So when Game look at their numbers and go, okay, Game in the White Rose have secured 2,000 pre-orders for FIFA 14.
Yeah.
Game is then going to go with that data to get their bank loan to contribute towards their mass purchase order from EA of all these copies of FIFA. And then a month later, they're going to be sat on 1,900 unsold units in a certain store.
Because they're just imaginary pre-orders.
Absolutely.
As such.
And this is how Game went into administration the first time before we joined.
Yeah.
Because they ordered too many Gears of War Xboxes, the consoles, and they just couldn't shift them. And it fucked their entire company.
God, that's...
And so...
As well, such an easy thing to sort on in terms of a till software perspective. Don't allow more than one pre-order.
Yeah,
you've already got one, mate. What are you doing?
Absolutely.
It's just mental, that.
I take full responsibility for doing it now. But in the past, back then, I was really frustrated because I'd been
I get why.
Positively and I was getting all the hours.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing all these good numbers. Everything was reinforcing me. I was just in my own little bubble.
No one's thought, or maybe higher level ignored, that obviously head office would notice at some point.
Yeah.
It's amazing that.
Pretty much, not all of, but a significant part of the store just got like...
Store manager as well.
Some got store manager got demoted.
Yeah.
Low levels got sacked. I think it was me, Jess, and maybe someone else. But within like 2 weeks, maybe not 2 weeks, but within a short amount of time, pretty much the whole staff had turned over and everyone had moved on. And it was a real shame. And I've still got my statement that I wrote. I remember going to my meeting and getting sacked, and I recorded it in my pocket. I just thought it might be valuable at some point. And I was devastated,
that
man.
Podcast is out next week.
I've got it if anyone wants to hear it.
Wow.
Yeah, but then I went and worked for Curry's.
Yeah, you did.
And I bring this up. It's relevant to this story.
Same code.
So I went to work for Curry's, and I was so desperate for a job after getting sacked that I shook my prospective employer's hand with both hands. You ever do that?
Absolutely not.
And I interviewed seemingly really well.
Yeah.
Because I was going for like the sales assistant low end job, and I was kind of fast tracked straight into like real junior management, the level above.
Yeah.
Which was great. And my manager there, a guy called Dean, really believed in me and was sound as fuck. And I get my feet on the ground at PC World, Curry's PC World, and guess what's happening in Curry's PC World? The same thing. Everyone
Discare again
is doing this same tactic of customer comes in, they're expecting to buy something for X amount of money. We're going to charge them that amount of money.
Yeah.
But at Curry's, it was even worse because there wasn't a when bought with code.
Right.
So a lot of the time, the staff had a bit of leeway with discount, like manually discounting an item. And if someone was buying a TV for $1,000, it wouldn't be uncommon for the sales assistant to knock £100 off that TV without telling you and saying, today you're going to get free HDMI cable. We're going to give you a free Blu-ray color calibration. We're going to give you a free month of pay-as-you-go warranty.
Yeah.
We're going to give you, what else was like attached with a TV? I can't remember. Audio cable, this, that, and the other. And you walk out buzzing. But then if you need to do a warranty claim on your TV, you've only paid 900 quid for it.
Right.
Like, so that's the big problem with it. Like, if you have a warranty issue...
Oh, so your claim's only valid for the... Well, of course it is.
Yeah, so the Currys system will show you, like, you get customers that have got like a TV with a long warranty.
Yeah.
And all the receipt will show you when you scan it in is like what they paid for that TV.
Yeah.
And it's essentially like, just pick another TV from our lineup to that value.
That's such a cheeky way of doing it.
And do you know what? I didn't have to do. I was selling on the shop floor in Currys for the majority of the time, but I wasn't a hard seller, and I didn't really care about attaching stuff. I mean, Currys, I could do a whole episode on talking about the bad ethics at Currys, but I had to take one of the managers aside and be like, look, I know you're telling me to do this. I know everyone's doing it, but this is literally the thing I've just been sacked for.
Yeah.
And I need green light that that I'm allowed to do this.
Absolutely.
And this manager, it wasn't the guy who interviewed me. This manager said, yeah. And I was recording in my pocket again, because I was like, there's no way that I'm going to like fall into this trap twice. And I never really did that. I never used that method. But if you've bought a TV or if you've bought any kind of big box item from...
you might have a perspective on this then. When I first went to Liverpool Uni, I did a quick. Me and Mammy went to Currys in that one in near IKEA.
Bristol, yeah.
The
Superstore. It's the biggest one in its region.
Went there.
20 million turnover, that store in 2014.
Damn, not bad. I wonder what it is now. Is it even there?
Yeah, it's still there. Probably a damn sight less now.
Yeah, I bet. I went there to get some supplies, one of which was a kettle, because of course when you need a kettle, you go to PC World.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, kettle cable.
That's it, yeah. Anyway, so I got this kettle, and there wasn't much else. I don't know why. Was it just for a kettle? I don't know. Anyway, I ended up just buying this kettle. Got to the till, and just wanted to pay for this like 30 quid kettle or whatever. And the guy behind the till was like saying, oh, do you want to get this?
Instant replacement is called.
Whatever it was. Like, no, I'm all right, mate. And he's like, no, do it. And it was getting like visibly irate. Oh, no. It was like, oh, well, if because it was like
it's disposable at 30 quid, really, isn't it?
Well, it's just, it was one of these glass ones that, well, if you smash it, you'll have to buy a new one. I was like,
I'll buy a new one. Yeah.
I'm aware. And just mental attitude.
Yeah.
Mental attitude.
And there's a lot of targets and pressure and performance, like performance. Like if you're not performing, you're put on like a plan.
Yeah.
Where it's like a fast track. God, I've just started getting a really bad stomachache. Fucking hell.
Oh, bloody hell. I
think I'm going to give birth. Oh, excuse me, one sec.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
So
it's just past. Jesus. There's like an air trapped in there.
Do you know what you mean? Yeah.
That was tough. I was trying to pay as much attention to it as I could.
Healthy gym activity.
But yeah, there's a lot of like toxicity in Currys, or there was back then, Currys PC World. So that guy will probably be a few more sales without that add-on away from like a disciplinary. And that's why what a lot of the proficient and system-wide skilled salespeople at Currys will do is they'll include stuff for free, but it's not really for free.
Not really free.
If you've ever bought a big box item and got something for free, outside of like if you buy an LG and it comes with a LG 7-year warranty, which obviously is included, if Currys have given you an HDMI cable, this, that, and the other, check your receipt, and I guarantee you'll have paid less for your TV than you think.
It's really, it's like an episode of Watchdog.
Yeah. Well, I think I'd be very surprised if it wasn't outed. By Watchdog, because it's terrible retail practice.
I everything's just online now, isn't it? I mean, I bought my TV that I've had for a little while now from John Lewis, but even that was online, and that's the only time I've actually purposefully bought warranty, because at the time I was so terrified of burning, which turns out isn't really a thing. But I was so terrified of burning, I got this like extra long warranty from John Lewis that covers burning.
There's no lot wrong with getting a warranty. Like I think on a TV like what you've got, it's you're spending a lot of money on it. Like it makes sense.
Not worry, it's like I think 1,200. I think I spent in the end. On the TV.
It's no small change, that is it?
Yeah, but that's really interesting because as well, people, if they care to look at the receipt, even then the road splits, because it's like these people are like, oh yeah, it's just a receipt, whatever, and then there's probably a tiny fraction that are like, oh, this isn't right.
And what it will do at Currys, if I remember correctly, is it kind of bundles it in as like one line.
Oh, really? Okay.
So like one itemized thing. So it's like TV, bundle, almost 999, 1,000 quid.
Yeah.
And it's just like they've just compressed all this stuff into this one line. It's super interesting and a terrible company.
Oh, man, think about all the stuff you do, right? Or that you do in your job. So not you. Well, maybe you as well. You do all sorts in your job. But no, people who work for companies and stuff, think and all the stuff you know, and then apply it to like everything. I bet there's so much like dodgy.
Absolutely.
I don't know. It's
how you could tell, like
shitty ice in Costa and Starbucks. Do you remember when that was all kicking off?
Yeah.
My ice it's got shit particles on it.
No, I'm going to get Legionnaire's disease. We've talked for an hour and 15 today, which is 15 minutes over the format. But I didn't even get through half my bullet points.
Slipped back into it, man.
Yeah, well,
good to chat.
We'll have to have you back on. You'll always have a seat here.
When I'm not working or decorating or crying, or being a single mad lad, I'd love to get back on.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, I've got some birds to catch on Red Dead Redemption. It needs to be the perfect quality to deliver to the museum.
How many cups of tea do you have a day?
0.
Right. I have too many. Comment down below how many cups of tea you have a day, or coffee, because Dave had 3 coffees and 3 teas.
I've not had either today, though I do have a coffee usually.
I think that isn't normal. 3 coffees, 3 teas.
3 coffees is too much.
I think I'm addicted.
3 coffees is the absolute limit, but that would be like if I was going out as well.
Number of tea or coffees, tea order, like do you have milk, sugar, and what kind of coffee? Me personally, sacked off the instant. I've got a mocha pot now.
Right.
Highly recommend a mocha pot. You get barista level, shop level quality. You buy the right beans.
Is that a machine you bought?
No, it's literally a pot. It's like if you Google mocha pot, I don't know who I'm talking to. So it's like a metal pot, right?
Right.
And you put the water in the bottom, and then there's a little basket for your ground beans. I buy
Does it make a mocha?
No, it makes it coffee.
But they called it a mocha pot.
MOKA.
That's confusing when there's a coffee called a mocha.
But you put it on your hob, and you heat up the water, and the water pushes through the coffee into a chamber at the top, and it literally. So I get North Star beans,
right?
Leeds Dock.
Yeah.
The best coffee beans, and it's literally like save yourself. What's coffee these days? 3 quid, 4 quid.
Yeah, can be.
Get you one of them at home.
I use bit
of soy milk,
Nescafe with the built-in milk. Just put that in and boil that water.
Different energy, man. Yeah. Different energy. But yeah, I have too much tea and coffee. I'm going to go home and have a big cup of tea.
Good lad.
I know it's wrong.
Well deserved. It's even better, mate, when you know you're being naughty. Well, thanks for tuning in, folks.
Good to see you.
We might be there. We might be back next week. We might not. We're just putting stuff out when we feel like we've got something to talk about. Yeah, see you in a bit.
See ya.
Bye. I enjoyed that. A lot of me talking, but hopefully that's all right.